Everyone, let me start by saying something that might seem like a paradox at first. God is never late. In fact, God is always right on time. The real question isn't about divine timing. It's about our ability to understand it, to trust it, and to align ourselves with it. We often find ourselves in a rush. We set goals, make plans, and then we wait. But here's the thing, we're not waiting for the world to catch up to us. We're not waiting for life to give us what we think we deserve. No, we are waiting for ourselves to be ready for what life has already prepared for us. Think about it. When we set an intention or when we pray, we create a vision of what we want to happen. But somewhere along the line, we forget that the universe has its own way of working, a rhythm, a flow that we may not always understand in the moment. We expect results now, and when things don't happen in the time we expect, frustration builds. We feel like we're missing out or like something is wrong. But there's nothing wrong, we're simply not in alignment with the flow of the process. Patience, or rather, the lack of it, often comes from a deep-seated belief that if we don't see something happening right now, it means it isn't happening at all. We don't trust the unseen forces at play. We forget that just because we don't see progress doesn't mean progress isn't happening. Just because we don't feel things shifting doesn't mean things aren't shifting. Have you ever planted a seed? You don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing, right? You trust that the soil, the sun, the water, all are doing their part. The seed doesn't need you to rush it. The seed knows when it's time to break through the surface. The same applies to us. The very moment we stop trying to force the outcome, we create space for it to unfold. In its own time, our impatience often comes from a place of fear. We fear that we're running out of time. We fear that we're not doing enough. But fear, when we let it take over, distorts our reality. It makes us blind to the truth that things are always happening for us, not against us. The universe operates in divine timing, and we are part of that divine order. Think about your life. When you look back on your most meaningful moments, they didn't always happen when you planned them. They happened when you were ready. They happened when you had learned the lessons you needed to learn. They happened when you were able to step into a higher level of awareness and understanding. And looking back, those moments always seemed to fall into place perfectly, didn't they? Here's what's important. Your dreams, your desires, your purpose, they are all in motion right now, whether you can see it or not. The universe, God, the higher intelligence of the world, call it what you will. It is never late. It is orchestrating everything perfectly. But you must cultivate the inner peace and the trust that will allow you to receive what has already been prepared for you. You must stop fighting the process. Now, in the grand scheme of things, we are all part of a larger interconnected web of life. And in that web, there are moments when you're meant to be in one place at one time for a reason you might not yet understand. And that reason may just be waiting for you to step into a new level of consciousness. To realize that the moment you've been waiting for is not coming to you, but coming through you. And all it takes is for you to open your heart, quiet your mind, and trust. So let's make a promise to ourselves today, to trust the timing of our lives, to surrender to the knowing that everything we need will be given to us, not when we demand it, but when we are ready to receive it, because in the end, God is never late. We just need to remember that time. True time doesn't belong to us. It belongs to something far greater. And all we have to do is trust that trusting the divine timing of life is a powerful practice that requires deep surrender and belief in something greater than ourselves. In our fast-paced world, we are constantly conditioned to expect instant results. From technology to social media, everything happens at lightning speed, and we're led to believe that we should always be moving forward, always achieving. However, life doesn't operate in the same way. It unfolds at its own pace, and the timing of our experiences is often beyond our understanding. When we trust the divine timing of life, we stop forcing things to happen. We begin to understand that there is a natural rhythm and flow to everything around us. The universe, or whatever higher intelligence you believe in, has a plan that is far bigger than our individual desires or needs. This plan is precise, and everything happens at exactly the right moment, even if we can't see it yet. It's easy to get frustrated when things don't happen when we want them to, but the truth is, often we are not ready to receive what is meant for us. The timing isn't off. We simply haven't reached the point where we can fully embrace the opportunities or lessons that are on their way. By trusting the process, we let go of our need to control outcomes and learn to be patient with ourselves and life itself. Divine timing requires faith. It asks us to believe that life is not something to be rushed or managed, but experienced and allowed to unfold naturally. When we trust this timing, we open ourselves up to possibilities that are far greater than what we could have planned on our own. It's in this surrender that we align with the flow of the universe. Patience is the key to alignment, a state where we become attuned to the rhythm of life and the flow of the universe. In a world that constantly encourages us to act quickly, achieve more, and move faster, patience often feels like a lost art. Yet, it's this very patience that allows us to be in harmony with everything around us, creating space for things to unfold in their perfect time. When we lack patience, we tend to force situations. We push ourselves, our relationships, and our goals without giving them room to develop organically. This rush leads to resistance, frustration, and a sense of exhaustion. However, when we practice patience, we stop forcing outcomes and begin to trust that things will manifest when they are meant to. Patience helps us stay grounded and centered, even when things aren't happening as quickly as we might hope. True alignment comes from understanding that every step of our journey is necessary. There are moments in life where we need to pause, reflect, and simply be, without striving for constant progress. The more we cultivate patience, the more we allow ourselves to be guided by the unseen forces that are working behind the scenes. By trusting the timing of things and allowing space for life to unfold, we align ourselves with our highest potential. Patience doesn't mean passivity. It means actively choosing to surrender control and trust in the process. It means finding peace in the present moment, even if the future hasn't arrived. Patience brings clarity because it allows us to see the bigger picture. We begin to realize that everything we experience is leading us exactly where we need to go. It is through patience that we discover our deepest strengths and capacities for growth. Impatience often comes from a place of fear. It arises when we feel uncertain about our path, our future, or our ability to achieve our desires. The fear of missing out, the fear of failure, or even the fear of being stuck can create a sense of urgency, pushing us to act quickly, often without thoughtful consideration. In these moments, we forget that rushing usually leads to missteps rather than progress. Fear distorts our perception of time and reality. It tells us that we are running out of time or that we need to hurry in order to get what we want before it's too late. This fear-based thinking can cause us to lose sight of the fact that everything is unfolding in its own time and that our lives are not dictated by deadlines or comparison to others. Instead of allowing things to happen naturally, we force them, driven by the illusion that we must make things happen immediately. When we're impatient, we often overlook the growth that happens in the waiting periods. We become so fixated on the outcome that we miss the lessons the journey is offering us. Fear convinces us that we are behind or that we need to catch up, but in truth, we are always exactly where we need to be. The universe has its own timing, and our impatience only clouds our ability to see that. By acknowledging that impatience stems from fear, we can begin to detach from it. Instead of rushing toward the future, we can focus on being present in the moment. We can trust that life is unfolding as it should, that everything is aligning for our highest good, and that when we let go of the fear and impatience, we create the space for real transformation to occur. The universe is always working on your behalf, even when you can't see it or feel it. This is one of the fundamental truths that we often forget, especially during times of challenge or when things seem uncertain. We tend to think that if we don't see immediate results or signs, then nothing is happening. However, just because we can't perceive the process doesn't mean it isn't in motion. The universe operates on a level that is far greater than our immediate awareness, and it is always orchestrating events in our favor, even when they appear to be unfavorable. Life doesn't always unfold according to the plans we have for ourselves, and this can be frustrating. But often, this is because the universe is guiding us towards something greater than what we originally imagined. It's not that life is working against us. It's that it's aligning with something even better, something more in tune with our true purpose and potential. Well, we might feel like we're in a state of limbo or stuck in a holding pattern. The universe is setting the stage for what's next. We are co-creators of our reality, and while we set intentions and take action, the universe responds in ways that we may not fully understand. It may take us down a winding path to prepare us for what's ahead, or it might need to realign us with our deeper desires. Regardless of how it looks in the moment, everything that happens is part of the greater plan. We can trust that what is meant for us will come at exactly the right time, through the right circumstances. True progress happens behind the scenes, often invisible to us in the moment. We live in a world where we are accustomed to seeing immediate results, where the desire for quick gratification is ever present. Yet, the most profound transformations in life are not always immediately visible. The work that shapes our future is often being done in the background, in ways we may not fully understand or even recognize. Think of the natural world. A seed doesn't show its growth overnight. Beneath the surface, roots are growing, gathering strength, and preparing the plant for the surface world. Similarly, in our own lives, growth happens in ways that may not be outwardly apparent, but are nonetheless vital. Our thoughts, our emotions, and our internal shifts are creating the foundation for the external changes we long for. The actions we take today, even the smallest ones, are laying the groundwork for a future that may unfold in unexpected ways. We often look for signs of progress in external achievements, promotions, milestones, or outward success. However, progress isn't always measured by visible markers. Sometimes it's about the inner work we're doing, the shifts in our consciousness, or the lessons we're learning along the way. These are the building blocks of true growth. When we're working on ourselves, cultivating patience, resilience, and trust, we are progressing. Even if we don't see immediate results, it's important to remember that just because something isn't happening in front of us doesn't mean it isn't happening. And often the most significant breakthroughs come after periods of quiet, unseen work. The universe has its own pace, and the progress being made behind the scenes is laying the foundation for what is to come. We often think we're waiting for life to give us what we want, but in truth, we are waiting to be ready for what life has already prepared for us. The universe is constantly presenting opportunities and experiences that are in alignment with our highest potential, but it's up to us to be in a state of readiness to receive. This state of readiness doesn't come from rushing or forcing things into place. It comes from an inner transformation that prepares us to step into what's next with openness, trust, and understanding. The experiences we desire often require us to grow, to learn, and to shift in ways that we might not fully realize in the moment. We may want success, love, or abundance, but these things require us to embody the qualities necessary to sustain them. We must develop the patience, self-awareness, and emotional resilience to handle what's coming our way. It's not that life is withholding these blessings from us, but that we need to evolve into the person who can fully embrace and appreciate them when they arrive. Being ready doesn't mean having everything figured out or having the perfect circumstances. It means having the emotional maturity and clarity to recognize the opportunities when they present themselves. Sometimes we are presented with the perfect circumstances but fail to recognize them because we haven't done the internal work to match them. When we're truly ready, we can act with confidence and certainty, knowing that the timing is right. The universe is always preparing us for the next phase of our journey. We may not understand it while we're in the process, but the unfolding of our lives is always in perfect alignment with what we need to grow and thrive. We are not waiting for life to change. We are waiting for ourselves to step into the version of ourselves that can fully receive what's already been prepared. Our vision must align with the flow of life if we are to experience true fulfillment. Often we set goals or create plans based on what we think we want or need, and we believe that these goals are the only path to happiness or success. But life is not rigid, and neither is the universe. The flow of life is dynamic, constantly shifting and changing, and when we try to force our vision onto life without considering this flow, we create resistance. This resistance can lead to frustration, anxiety, and a sense of being out of sync with our true purpose. Aligning our vision with the flow of life means surrendering the need for control and trusting that there is a bigger picture at play. It requires us to be open to new opportunities, unexpected detours, and alternative paths that may lead us to a better outcome than we could have imagined. When we align with the flow, we stop pushing against the current and start working with it, understanding that the universe is constantly guiding us toward our highest good, even if it doesn't look exactly how we envisioned it. This alignment also involves self-awareness. It's about understanding that our vision should not be fixed or rigid. As we grow, our desires and perspectives shift, and our vision evolves. What we once thought we wanted may no longer align with our evolving sense of purpose. When we are in tune with the flow of life, we can adjust our vision to match the opportunities that are presenting themselves, recognizing that flexibility is a key component of growth. True alignment is not about forcing a vision into place. It's about allowing that vision to unfold naturally in harmony with the larger forces at play. It's about being open, adaptable, and willing to follow the path that life is creating for us. The seed doesn't rush, it grows in its time, and this is a perfect metaphor for our own lives. Just as a seed has everything it needs to grow within it, so do we have the potential for transformation and success already within us. However, growth takes time. It requires the right conditions, patience, and the willingness to trust the process. Just as seed doesn't force its way through the soil before it is ready, we too must learn to allow our personal growth to unfold in its own time. When a seed is planted, it begins a process that happens beneath the surface, out of sight. It is gathering the nutrients, absorbing water, and strengthening its roots. The visible part of the plant will eventually emerge, but only when the time is right. In the same way, our growth often happens behind the scenes before we see visible results. We may be doing the inner work, shifting our mindset, and learning lessons that prepare us for the future, but we may not immediately see the fruits of our labor. Just because the results aren't apparent doesn't mean they aren't happening. We live in a world where instant gratification is highly valued, but true and lasting change takes time. The process of growth requires patience and trust that what is happening beneath the surface is just as important as what we eventually see above it. Like the seed, we must trust that in due time the fruits of our labor will appear, and they will be stronger, more resilient, and more aligned with our purpose. The act of allowing ourselves the time to grow naturally ensures that we develop in a way that is sustainable and meaningful. Surrendering to the process allows transformation. This is a concept that can be difficult to embrace because, as humans, we have an innate desire to control our environment, outcomes, and even our own personal development. We want things to happen on our timetable, in our preferred way, according to our expectations. However, true growth, real transformation, doesn't happen when we are trying to force things into place. It happens when we let go, trust the process, and allow life to unfold as it is meant to. When we surrender, we are not giving up or admitting defeat. We are not abandoning our goals or dreams. Instead, we are acknowledging that we are part of a larger, interconnected process that operates in its own time and rhythm. Surrendering means accepting that we don't need to know every step ahead of us, nor do we need to control the outcome. It's about trusting that the universe, or whatever higher intelligence you believe in, is guiding us in the right direction, even if we can't see the entire path ahead. This doesn't mean we become passive or inactive. Surrender is not about sitting back and waiting for life to happen to us. It's about doing the inner work, showing up every day with intention, and taking aligned action without attachment to the results. It's about trusting that the effort we put into our growth, no matter how small, is contributing to a greater transformation. But we must stop expecting immediate results or forcing things to happen when they aren't ready. When we surrender to the process, we release the need to control everything. And in doing so, we allow space for the unexpected. Sometimes what we think we want is not what we need. There are moments when life presents us with opportunities that look different from what we envisioned. And our ability to surrender allows us to step into these opportunities with openness and trust. We stop clinging to our own limited vision and start to embrace the fullness of what the universe has in store for us. Surrender is also a practice of self-compassion. It's a recognition that we are doing our best, but that we are not in control of everything. This realization frees us from the pressure to have everything figured out, to be perfect, or to make every decision with certainty. Instead, we begin to understand that it's okay to be uncertain. It's okay to not know all the answers. In fact, uncertainty is a necessary part of growth. When we allow ourselves to live in that uncertainty, we open the door to discovery, learning, and personal evolution. In the process of surrendering, we also embrace the present moment. We stop dwelling on the past or anxiously anticipating the future. We shift our focus to what is happening right now. And we realize that every experience, every challenge, and every moment is contributing to our transformation. When we release the need to control, we are no longer living in resistance to life. Instead, we are living in alignment with it, allowing it to carry us where we need to go, even if the journey doesn't always look the way we thought it would. Surrendering to the process is one of the most profound acts of self-trust we can practice. Because it is in this surrender that we create the space for the deepest and most lasting transformations to take place. Everything unfolds perfectly when you trust. Trust is the foundation of any meaningful experience in life, and it's through trust that we allow ourselves to step into our fullest potential. So often, we find ourselves resisting the flow of life because we want control over every aspect of it. We want to dictate when things will happen, how they will unfold, and what the final outcome will be. Yet when we try to control every detail, we create friction. We build walls around ourselves that prevent us from experiencing the very thing we desire: peace, fulfillment, and alignment with our purpose. Trusting the process of life means acknowledging that there are forces at work that are beyond our understanding. It's recognizing that life has its own timing, its own rhythm, and that it's working in our favor, even if we don't always see it. Every moment, every experience, and every challenge is a part of the unfolding story of our lives. When we trust this process, we release the need to constantly push against what is happening and instead choose to allow it to flow naturally. We learn to embrace uncertainty, knowing that it is in the unknown that the magic of life often lies. When we trust, we stop doubting ourselves. Doubt can be one of the most paralyzing forces in our lives. It keeps us stuck, wondering if we're doing the right thing, questioning our choices, and fearing the unknown. But doubt only holds us back from stepping into our true potential. When we trust, we eliminate that doubt and create the space to move forward with confidence. Trust is not about knowing exactly how things will unfold, but about having the faith that everything is unfolding in perfect order, even if we can't see the full picture just yet. The act of trusting also helps us to release attachment to outcomes. When we attach ourselves to a specific result, we often lose sight of the journey. We become so focused on the end goal that we forget to appreciate the steps we are taking to get there. Trusting the process means surrendering the need to control how things turn out and instead appreciating the lessons, growth, and wisdom that emerge from every experience, regardless of the outcome. It means being willing to learn, to adapt, and to change course when necessary, knowing that every turn is contributing to our ultimate destination. In the process of trusting, we also learn to trust ourselves. We trust our intuition, our instincts, and our ability to handle whatever comes our way. We recognize that we are capable of navigating life's challenges with grace and resilience. Trusting ourselves allows us to make decisions from a place of inner certainty, knowing that we are aligned with our highest good. This deep self-trust gives us the courage to take risks, step outside of our comfort zones, and embrace new opportunities. As we learn to trust the process of life, we also begin to see that everything is interconnected. Each experience, each person, and each situation plays a role in the grand tapestry of our lives. Trusting the unfolding allows us to see the connections between things that we might have otherwise missed. We begin to appreciate the timing of life, realizing that even the most challenging moments serve a purpose in shaping who we are becoming. When we trust, we no longer feel like we are stumbling through life blindly. Instead, we recognize that we are part of something much greater and that everything is happening exactly as it should.